Ok. Mano. Ok. O jogo quebrou rapidinho. Já estamos de volta. Ok.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Ok. Por sorte, ainda posso continuar.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over
será que
him.
era suposto ter quebrado o jogo? Mano, mas quebrou meu PC.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Oh.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Ok, vamos.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find... Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Oh!
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Pode deixar. Incrível.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes. This is certainly the most logical explanation.
Oh!
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs. What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Nice.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Ok. Confio.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. But of course, Stanley and the bucket thought better of it and realized they simply had too much to live for. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Eu adoro meu bucket. Meu balde, não sei como é que se fala bucket.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly...
Balde, que é... Porra. Que é isso? É Stanley Parable.
dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs.
É jogo tipo
The
com
bucket
vários
had
finais,
never
com
seen
várias
anything like
escolhas.
this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's
Infelizmente não tem
mind.
legenda em português ainda.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world.
O objetivo
At
é...
this point, he could trust no one
É tipo,
except for the
pegar
bucket.
todos os finais, eu acho. É que esse jogo é muito
But here
engraçado
was
e
the proof.
tão profundo.
The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends.
Tá, poxa. Caralho, não achei que ia fazer.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse
Então, o
from the
objetivo é
end.
conseguir todos os finais,
True,
é
it was a
isso?
simple life they envisioned,
Esse aqui é dos
but it was
finais.
one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and... What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped?
Isso é novo.
Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No, no, no. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least At least he has the
Não tem como
bucket.
pular nesse jogo.
To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As
Well.
long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Da puta. Não, vamos de novo.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Olha o quê? Ah. Ok.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Entendi nada. É normal.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was
Ok,
wrong.
ele vai pedir pra ir naquela porta, né? A
Stanley
gente vai
took the
nessa
door on
porta
his
da
left
frente
to
agora.
go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
Oh.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Ou eu pulo. Bem, vamos lá.
Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking.
Eu posso pular ali embaixo,
It
descer,
should
eu
have
pulo ali
alarmed him,
embaixo
of
e vou
course,
ali.
because buckets can't talk.
pulo ali,
But Stanley
ou eu
chose
vou
not
ali
to
onde
think
ele
about
quer
this
ir.
obvious fact.
Decida.
He was firmly convinced that the bucket
Decida,
had
Jack,
spoken
rápido.
to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
É, já era. Ah, mais escolhas agora. Bem, vamos lá.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Ok. Ali, uhul. E...
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Eu atendo? Eu atendo e agora? Eu me lembro disso que eu acho que dá pra tirar tomada também. Eu tiro a tomada ou eu atendo, Jack? Você decide as escolhas. Vamos lá, Jack, você consegue. Tirar a tomada? Ok.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket. Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing?
Ok.
How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny."
I'm Dunny
now.
with the funny. I'm Dunny with the funny.
Good. This saying is a
Exactly,
perfect
VOLTOU.
example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threatened our very existence, and to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Eu não estava esperando
Hey,
isso final.
goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery.
Okay.
Come along, let's head
Ok,
back.
ok, let's go. Não. Então tá. Já estamos indo. Agora tem uma cerca no bagulho.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
É, cara, relaxa, relaxa. Agora vai, eu faço essa história aqui que eu fiz ou eu sigo a história do narrador? Ou eu só desobedeço ele? Desobedeço.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Siga seu coração. Vamos. Quer dizer, direito. Correto. Eu quero voltar? Não? Ok.
What? We're back at the phone already?
Ah.
No. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this.
Ok.
There was supposed to be a build-up to this point. A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room.
No.
What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing.
Não.
I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling
Isso é
whelp.
muito engraçado.
I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional
No.
video again.
Não.
Yes, surely that will help me improve
Não. Não. Oh, meu Deus do céu.
Here we go.
Huh?
You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors,
Okay.
they entered the door on the left.
Vamos na direita. Ok.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. Here we go. You ready?
Ok.
When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Direita. Vejamos mais uma vez.
What? We're back at the phone already? No.
Então tá, eu acho que eu não tenho escolha além de
Here
pra
we
esquerda.
go. You ready?
Putz.
When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Ok.
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right,
Mas eu já
leading back to the
tentei.
phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly.
Mas
There's
eu
no way I
tentei.
can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all
Mas eu
your
tentei.
fault, Stanley.
Não,
I'm going to
mas
be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now
Mas eu
on.
tentei.
All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself
Não,
for bringing
pá.
me
Meu
down,
Deus,
Stanley? Are you
mano,
proud?
para.
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame.
Mano.
Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
Bem, esse foi um dos finais.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his
Agora,
chest.
a
And
gente pode
this
ver.
was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it
Agora,
was.
Jack,
Had the bucket
eu
turned out to
pulo.
be correct? No,
Ó,
never
tem
mind.
3 opções
The
agora.
bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
Jack, tem
don't
3
go to the
opções.
meeting room.
Eu
Go
vou ali
somewhere
naquela
else.
ponte,
The cargo lift, yes.
eu subo ali em
Go
cima,
there.
atendo o
Go to the
telefone,
cargo lift.
ou eu pulo aqui embaixo. E aí? O que eu faço? Eu esperarei a sua resposta, Jack. Ah. Ah. Meu Deus! Pera aí. Tá, não, calma aí, antes de pular, eu vou ter que pegar isso aqui, né?
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Ok, agora. Oh! Tá, vamos lá. Desculpa, Jack, mas eu descobri algo novo, daí eu te chamo. Oh! Ok. Ah. Ah.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket.
Deus.
This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get me. What's that? Who's there?
Eu não quero mais.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Mano.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around.
Mano.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Ok, vamos
This was
pular.
not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was
Penso
simply
que
the
você
place
era
to be.
balde.
And here it was.
Um
Had the
erro
bucket
comum,
turned
erro
out to be
comum.
correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go
Hang on,
somewhere
vamos
else.
lá.
The cargo lift, yes. Go there.
No.
Go to the cargo lift.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death,
O que aconteceu
that
lá?
they might die.
Não, deixa eu explicar. Aquilo lá que eu tava ouvindo, aquele tape, pelo jeito, o balde. Quando você segura aquele balde, você sente uma emoção de bem-estar, de felicidade, tudo incrivelmente forte. E na gravação, o cara disse que ele queria monetizar isso, começar a vender para as pessoas, tipo, 1 hora com o balde por $1000, as pessoas iriam pagar qualquer coisa. Só que no momento que ele disse que no momento que ele começasse a fazer isso iria botar um alvo nas costas dele e alguma entidade
in
veio
one
pegar
another's
ele.
arms. How deeply touching.
É bizarro, mano.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure
Ele falou algo
together.
diferente. Ele falou algo diferente. What the fuck? Alô? Mano.
Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
Mano, eu não tô gostando disso. Ok. Véi.
Stanley
Vamos na
clutched the
direita
bucket
de novo.
tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
Tá bom, agora
don't go to
vamos
the meeting
na
room. Go
ponte,
somewhere
eu acho,
else.
né?
The cargo lift, yes.
Tá, eu vou na ponte ou eu
Good,
tento o
said the
telefone?
bucket.
Eu vou
Now
na
ride
ponte ou
the
eu tento o
lift all the
telefone?
way to
Rápido,
the
Jack.
top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he
Okay.
unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
E... Nope. Sério? Não vai comentar nada sobre isso? Ok. Vamos lá. Estranho, ele não tá falando nada. Eu tô com medo. Por que não tá falando nada, o narrador?
No, stop! Look there on the wall, you see? There's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless... What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point.
Okay.
Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Ok.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you
Ok,
is a
bora.
bucket.
Vou
Simple
arrasar.
enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Sim.
Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Aqui.
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Mano.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed
Como
recreation of a
assim?
bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Mano.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Mano.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
E agora? Meu Deus, o que eu respondo? Eu não sei, eu não sei, eu não sei no que acreditar. Meu Deus, por favor, alguém me ajude. O que eu acredito, o que é real, o que não é, o que é um balde, o que não é um balde. Eu não sei.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
Desculpa.
Is this a bucket?
Mano.
Incorrect.
O quê?
This is a bucket. Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question.
Yeah!
Both. Gotcha.
Mano, como assim? Como assim? Os dois.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
Não quero mais. Isso aí.
Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless... Is that what you
Eu tô
think?
tentando. Eu tô tentando distinguir itens se são baldes ou não. Apareceu um trator, eu disse que o trator era um balde. E eu falhei. Aí apareceu outro trator. Aí eu disse que esse trator não era um balde. Aí eu falhei também.
Answer me straight, Stanley.
Foi tipo isso.
Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket?
Sim, tudo é um balde.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere
Exatamente.
moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
Não!
Okay, here we go.
Não! Não!
What happened? Is everything gone?
Ele
How did
apagou
everything
tudo
disappear?
porque
Wait,
tudo é um
was
balde.
everything a bucket?
Meu
Every
Deus!
single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets.
Mano, que...
Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue. But
Mano...
it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what. I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And
Okay.
we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Oh, mano, meu Deus do céu.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Eu tô muito
Stanley decided to
louco,
go to the
velho.
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a
Balde.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his lap. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to
Legal,
him,
agora a gente vai
telling him
atender o
that the
telefone.
employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Ó,
Stanley
também tem
took
esse
the door
caminho
on his
aqui, ó.
left
Que
to
tem
go
um
back to the
elevador
meeting
ali.
room.
Aí eu tinha que ver. Ô Jack, você quer que eu mude de jogo aqui?
Said the bucket.
Eu tenho outro jogo
Don't go
também,
to the
que é bem
meeting
legal.
room. Go
Jogo
somewhere else.
Bem
The
divertido.
cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did
Então tá.
whatever the bucket
Mas
asked.
esse final daí eu troco de jogo.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the...
Oh, oh! Meu Deus, meus olhos. Ah!
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Eu me casei com o balde? É isso mesmo?
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Mano.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object?
I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him.
Wow.
I don't know if he'll listen to me. Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a
Para
different
de
location.
mentir!
That's
Não,
it.
meu balde.
It doesn't do anything else.
Cadê? Balde.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Que isso? Tá xingando o balde, mano.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it. Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid.
Ok.
Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Pressione V para reviver esse dia comigo. Novo.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Ir pra casa, ir pro trabalho, ir pra casa, ir pro trabalho, ir pra casa, ir pro trabalho.
Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley.
No.
I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
Não! O que aconteceu? O balde.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
Ele tá aqui ainda.
A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and
Ok,
entered the
vamos,
door on his
vamos por
left.
aqui agora. Tem caminho aqui que eu ainda não fiz. Ok, isso é diferente. Offload objects, we have to secure our resource. Vibe ruim, hein, meu Deus. Quarto vermelho. 416? There's something to do with stairs. Somewhere both red and blue. Eu sei onde tá. Tá, eu sei onde tá os dois últimos.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Não. Yeah!
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten
Eu sei
all
onde tá o
the
último.
Figler Anlarines.
Eu sei onde
Very
tá o último,
soon,
mas eu acho que
you'll
a
collect
gente
the
não vai
worst
poder levar o
one,
balde.
and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler Anlarines. None of us can.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fined for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket.
Oi?
The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
Maldito de você!
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley! Find me!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
What the fuck, man? Meu Deus. Tá. Vamos tentar pegar o último
All of his
figurinha.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Culpa
Perhaps
balde.
he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was, the lounge. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Não.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on... And there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here, and now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
No.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red
No.
door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Blue door.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here.
Wow.
I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback.
Okay.
There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback
Ok,
here.
o que você acha, hein, Jack? Tá indo bem ou tá indo mal? Tá indo bem, eu diria que tá indo bem, mas... Sabe, eu acho que podia melhorar, né? Você não acha? É. 2, né? 2.
Oh, well, now this is useful. You didn't like it, but you didn't totally hate it either. You enjoyed it, perhaps is the correct term. It didn't cause you excruciating pain.
No.
Big steps we've made here today, Stanley.
Bom.
Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Oh. E aí, mano? Isso aqui é real? Onde eu tô? Au. Oh, uau. Lista de amigos. Ai, caralho. Ok, vamos lá.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated
E aí,
to keep walking through
você
doors?
achou que eu
Again, honest
combinar?
answers, please.
Vou dizer que foi um 3 agora,
Hey,
vai.
I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting.
Opa, bora.
You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
Não.
Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Oh.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right. And if he reaches the fire, you fail.
Oh.
It's a very meaningful game. All about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family
Eu salvo o
life.
bebê, eu deixo ele
I
queimar.
think the art
Salvo o
world
bebê, eu deixo
will
ele queimar,
really
Jack.
take notice. But of course, the message
Agora,
of the
Jack.
game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So
What?
why don't you
Horas?
give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Meu Deus do céu. Meu Deus do céu. Até eu vou decidir, foda-se o bebê. Queime. Vai embora, queime.
You heartless bastard.
Vai se
Did
fuder.
you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over.
Ah.
Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Huh?
Aha! Fascinating.
Mano.
What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation?
Mano.
Well, it seems obvious to
pai, eu
me that you are
gosto,
meant to
velho. Eu
play as
joguei
a
esse
creepy
jogo.
man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted, erotic purpose. Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stan, and it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Bora. Mano, é literalmente o jogo. Tem até. Mano! Isso é muito da hora, velho. Meu Deus, que foda, cara. Eu amei.
Oh no. No, it can't be.
É. Não pode ser. Mano, eu vou indo muito no. Vamos lá.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
Não! Por quê?
Thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You really
Não!
wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another
Mas eu
game.
gosto desse
Preferably
jogo.
something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
Não.
Okay, I think this will be just the thing. Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a
Rocket
nice
League.
big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Mano.
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together.
Bora.
Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Bora. Yeah. Whoa!
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on?
Meu Deus.
Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one
posso
ball
pular?
generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric
Mano,
sports
será que eu posso
experience.
pular ali
I'm going to
dentro?
try it out. Here comes another ball. Yes, Oh, goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable. Hold on. What are you doing?
Whoa!
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back. We still have so much.
Oh. Eu não devia ter pulado, né? Ah, eu não tô gostando. Meu Deus do céu. Eu realmente não tô gostando mais disso, mano. Era tudo divertido, legal. Luz! Por favor, me tira daqui. R$ 427. Tem nada aqui? Ah. Pena. Oh.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things.
Yeah.
It's those figurines.
Yeah.
Those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines.
Claro.
Just one more time.
Ah. Cara, ok. Interessante. Interessante. Oh! Nova sessão, mas...
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
De colecionar? Oh. Ok. Ok, não deve ser nada. Ah, que é o segundo colecionável.
And here was a second Stanlerine. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the boss's bathroom. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini stand? Can you remember?
Warehouse.
No. The warehouse was the fourth place you found the Figurine,
droga.
not the third. Well, I guess perhaps I shouldn't be surprised. Memories like these are so precious and so cherished that they all just sort of blend together, don't they? You know what? If the warehouse feels like the third place you found a collectible, then who am I to go making judgments?
Vocês ouviram isso? Foi isso? Ok. Ué? Alô? Oh. Okay.
Let's see. What came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room.
No.
Oh, well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
Ok. Isso que tá
This was
certo.
the fifth mini stand, and this one was really something special.
É,
It
não,
was
isso
under
tá
the
certo.
stairs. I remember it so clearly.
Uh-huh.
In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion.
Opa.
Enjoy.
Bora. Yeah! Nossa! Meu Deus, que coisa linda, velho. Meu Deus, que coisa linda, velho.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Esse barulho de novo, mano.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the Final Figurine, right here by the red and blue doors.
Yay.
This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other.
Realmente.
Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like. And then there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
Mas já? Ok. Wow.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction.
Okay, bora.
See how that feels. Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
Ok, bora.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video
Por
we
favor.
watched?
Não. Ah!
Yes, I love that video.
Mano, que som são esses?
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
Esse aqui é meio estranho, né? Mano, que susto, jurava ter visto algo se movendo. Mano, eu tô ficando maluco, velho.
these really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Porra, para. You dumb. You're stupid. Getting chef. Quem é esse cara? Tá, acabou.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Ah. Mano, o que tá acontecendo, velho?
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories. Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office?
No.
There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Ok, bora.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Vamos ver o
This was
elevador
not the
agora.
correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first
Ô
open
Jack,
door
você ainda
on his
tá aí?
left.
Ou não? Ou
And
acho
so
que você
he
se cansou,
detoured
né?
through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track.
Fun.
So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's,
Não tá não.
left.
Ok.
Oh, no.
Oh.
No, it's to the right. My mistake.
Porra, hein, narrador.
No, no, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh, dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Meu Deus do céu. O cara tá perdido.
Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Oh, ok.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just
tô vendo.
back to...
Não tô vendo.
Oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Ok.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Meu balde! Yeah!
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors?
No.
Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley.
Okay, vamos.
Let's find the story.
Ok, eu tô sentindo. É por aqui, ó, zigue-zague. Zigue-zague, daí você vem aqui, aí você entra aqui, dá uma volta assim. Dá outra volta, continua reto. Aí a gente volta pro começo. Ok, não. Ok, vamos tentar ir o mais longe possível do meio, então. Por aqui, a gente vai por aqui. Aqui! E,
I'll
não.
say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there
Calma,
definitely
não.
was a story here before.
Não é.
Do we need to restart the
Não,
game
não,
again?
não, eu tô
Well, I
achando.
find it
Vou
unlikely
achar agora,
that we'll ever
agora.
progress by
Aqui,
starting
se eu
over and
continuar
over
reto.
again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Assim e... Ok.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ok, vamos lá.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Ok, vamos lá. Aqui. Aqui.
Aha!
Ah.
I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Claro, claro.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley?
É,
Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Yeah!
Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job.
Obrigado.
Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all.
What?
We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Não. Ah, mano. Ah.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Parece bem sim. Ok. Ela linha fala pra vir pra cá, eu vou pra cá. Siga a linha.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Quê? Pera, o quê? Ok, eu não sei como isso funciona, mas tá.
Wait, cut the music.
Oh.
Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Form. Eu não sei do que ele tá falando, o que é form, eu não sei o que é form. Isso aqui? Bagulho verde? Essa cadeira? Essa aqui? O oceano? Eu não sei. Eu não sei.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Well, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Hey.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own
Eu sou
story?
inteligente.
Something exciting, daring, mysterious.
Yes.
Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Bora.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination.
Bora.
Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Huh.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
Okay.
Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing. Wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually.
Acabando, eu não posso
Well,
dar
in the
ideia.
meantime, if you
Susto! Que? Narrador?
all of his co-workers were gone. What
But
could
would
it
you-
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meet. The embrace of an old friend.
Balde?
A weathered companionship that stands the test. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much.
Okay.
It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere.
Como
The
assim?
bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the
Como
ones
se
that matter,
ousa falar
Stanley.
isso?
Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line?
No.
We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Não. É o balde.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Ok, de novo. Bora lá.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Não.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket.
Não.
That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to
No.
me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket
Não.
and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
Deve ter um jeito de desligar. Aqui. Deve desligar, né?
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the bucket destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and... The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Uou. Acabou de acontecer. Foi algo.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Será que eu tento pular lá fora? Estranho, será que eu tento? Eu não sei. Ih, eu não consigo voltar? Ah, não. Eu realmente não sei. Meu Deus, eu tô ficando muito confuso. Calma, tá, pera.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become
Acho que
both
dessa vez
of
vou
those.
tentar destruir
Stanley
o
clutched the
áudio
bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Jack, você ainda tá aí, Jack?
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley.
Ah, tá.
We've come together here because we care about you very much.
Eu acho que...
It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's... Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also,
Ah,
Stanley's
mas acho
addicted
que
to
você...
drugs and
Ok,
hookers.
legal. Desculpa.
It's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up. Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
Oh. Oh.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket.
Oops,
I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ok, vamos tentar algo novo.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Ah.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Ah, porra. Levei um sustinho. Pera aí. Porra.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never...
Ai, meu Deus. Bem, acho que já deu.